Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into another StarCraft 2 broadcast. My name is Anaris. Today we're here watching a 1 versus 1 on the map Xel'Naga Caverns between SjoW, spawning as the red Terran down in the bottom left position, against CheckPrime playing under Baboom Prime here in the top right as the blue Zerg. This is the first game in the best of 3 match series between these two players from the Stars War number 6 tournament. And you know what, man, I'll tell you what, this has actually turned out to be a pretty exciting series. The people who make it to the finals, I believe, are actually going to be flown out to China to play it off and hopefully win some exciting prizes. I think the total prize pool is like $8,400, something like that. So it is actually a pretty good chunk of money there. Certainly something that I would not shake a stick at. I would also not suggest eating it or actually trying to chase a cat with it either. I think pretty much all those things will turn out poorly for you. So let's actually go over the map just super quickly here. Well, you know what? It's Xel'Naga Caverns. You guys know this map. I promise I'm actually going to make a video for the people that don't have StarCraft 2 one day what's actually going to go over all of the maps, so that way I can just be like, okay guys, we're on Xel'Naga Caverns, and go check it out here. A little link will pop up in the video, but for now, that just has not happened yet. So instead, let's actually go over a little bit about the players. First of all, before we do that, I do want to point out CheckPrime going for the gas first build. Probably drop a spawning pool here just a second, judging by the money. It looks like, yep, sure enough, there we go. That's going to be a conservative play here right off the bat, going into the expansion, probably when he has a couple Zerglings, and going from there. SjoW down here dropping a second barracks, the first one right here at the top of the ramp for the main base. So he is going to be looking to put a little bit of pressure on CheckPrime here. We'll see how effective that is in the coming moments. I'm sure he will. One of his goals will be to put an SCV up here and try to throw down a bunker or something of that sort. Looks like we just saw a command given actually for the SCV traveling right here. So while we're watching this SCV, this brings up kind of something that's a little bit contradictory to one of the little facts I have about SjoW. SjoW, first of all, Jeffrey, age 24, he lives in Sweden, and his nickname actually is the Blind Terran. That is because well, up until now, of course. Previously, he was not a huge fan of scouting. He found that, or his reasoning was, I'm going to play with the same builds anyways, so I'm just rather have the better economy. So having that extra economy, or that extra SCV, working on your economy as a result does kind of help him out a little bit when you compare to somebody who, say, does scout. But it looks like we're going to have a little bit of SCV harassment, trying to keep the drone from dropping down the hatchery. Not going to last too long, though. Of course, the Zerglings have popped out, so yeah, I had to break my camera there for just a second. They got this neat little follow command, you know, Control-Shift-F, but when you try to break it, it takes some wiggling around of the camera. So that's why that happened. Anyways, yeah, SjoW, just wrap him up a little bit. He is a pretty hefty list of tournament participation on the Team Liquid player database. It's like 4 pages or something like that. So you guys can go and check that out. Most recently, he took number 2 in the number 12 Sennheiser Cup, and also he took first place in the Gathering Easter 2011 tournament. So pretty cool stuff there. And whoa, Zerglings coming over here, taking out the SCV, building the bunker. That's going to delay the defenses for the expansion just a tiny bit. Of course, you have the barracks going to be coming down there, creating a nice little funnel position there and there. But CheckPrime's got those Zerglings. He's running around. He's doing a pretty good job harassing. Obviously, the delay of that bunker there, it's really starting to accumulate on the time-o-meter. Seeing that, okay, there's the SCV. So forcing another one to come off the mineral line. Trying to just get that tiny little bit of economic advantage right there. You see just enough energy for a mule. And Johnny on the spot, more like SjoW on the spot. Yeah, SjoW joke right there. I swear I looked at this and my first thought was, oh hey, we're going to have a fantastic showing today. Okay, we got to factor in a barracks going down. Let's just kind of smoothly transition away from my attempted humor there. CheckPrime still working on the gas. Actually, it turns out he has been kind of farming that up for a little while here. Actually, I think he transferred his drones off for just a moment or two while he worked on his mineral income, then put it back. We'll wait and see exactly what he's going to be doing with that 150 gas, as once again another SCV has gone down for SjoW. See that right there? Bunker delayed. I'm sure that SjoW is not too happy about that. Let's actually go over a little bit of information about CheckPrime here. We'll watch this expansion going down. He is a 25-year-old South Korean professional StarCraft 2 player. He is qualified for Code S in the GSL. so always very exciting to see this guy play. Former Warcraft 3 player, both these guys actually have a Warcraft 3 history, which is a common thread among many StarCraft 2 players. So pretty exciting stuff. You know, one thing I never did cast Warcraft 3. Maybe I should do that sometime. Honestly, I don't really remember a whole ton about professional play for Warcraft 3. I spent my time playing different games when that was in its heyday, but you know, it might be fun sometime to sit down, crack out the old Warcraft 3 and try to bust out a commentary for you guys to laugh at. I don't know, maybe. I shouldn't call it a commentary, a casting, because there is actually a difference. CheckPrime up here, expansion looking good. We can see another hatchery going down. Now, I want to point out, a roach warren is already here, and CheckPrime's still getting that gas. You see, he has got a nice chunk of it saved up. Second extractor going down as well. It's going to pop in just a moment or two, as well as a baneling nest, so he could be working on putting a lot of pressure on his opponent with the roaches, the banelings, maybe some zerglings as well. Roaches aren't something you see all the time in Terran versus Zerg. A lot of times you'll see just mutalisk harassment, of course, which can be effective on this map in certain positions, but oh man, I can't see the monitor. The sun just reached that point in my window where I just, oh hey, I'm going to show up and put tons of glare on your screen. So I'm going to try to look at the minimap here. But, yeah, anyways, over here, this is a pretty good spot for mutas to come in, and back here they can have a nice little safe spot, but, you know, it is really difficult to get those mutas in here with this spot right here. I could place a turret, get some free shots off, little group of marines. Also, right here, the minerals are a little bit farther away from the ledge than probably the Zerg would like for them to be, so we'll wait and see exactly what happens here. Right now, we've got the scout coming over from SjoW. Just gonna come in here and actually let's see, what is he gonna spot here? All right, so he sees a creep. He sees that hatchery. Will he see the roaches? Yes, he will. So SjoW gonna be getting that crucial bit of information there. Actually, now that he knows that he is going to be facing possibly an attack here from roaches at least somewhat soon, we'll expect to see him prepare for that. Now he does have the siege tanks here. All right, so he's got two of them, nice position. Good. It's good that he's got him back from the bunker a little bit. That'll let him fire at any zerglings that decide to come running through here. And he's also taking another expansion. This could prove to be a little bit risky, but I think at this point it's a risk that will likely pay off, as we're seeing the Zerg player not come down directly at the Terran. CheckPrime is looking like he is going to be taking... Oh, man, Zergling's going to try to get us around on the Marines there. Will they be able to do it? Looks like he split his forces, so SjoW is actually going to be able to pop off some kills. Oh, man, that was like two Zerglings, a Marine, and a pork chop just died right there. I think the pork chop was the most serious of the losses, but that is okay because SjoW has spotted this expansion, so he is going to rest assured that getting his own expansion right now is a good move at this point. Also, CheckPrime sending down a few additional overlords. Do want to point out that CheckPrime was able to send an overlord up through here and spotted the factory, the barracks, and so forth. So both players are actually doing a good job keeping tabs on one another, as we do have two scouts heading over right now. Of course, this one Marine going to take some pretty hefty damage right there. CheckPrime responding very quickly. He wants to control this watchtower. Of course, this map, Xel'Naga Caverns, those watchtowers are very important. They do allow the player to watch all four of the major pathways to and from each half of the map there. Marine scouting out that expansion, keeping an eye on it, as we see that SjoW might actually go ahead and take the high yield. Now, with the planetary fortress right here, it becomes a very nice defensive position for SjoW. You can see this is kind of a choke point right here, so it's a little wide of a choke point, but still, with the planetary fortress, couple key structures right here, he can really narrow that down. And here we go with CheckPrime actually running around the backside with the Zerglings. Could maybe come over here, but there is an engineering bay that would block off any sort of attempted run by, so that effectiveness would be rather limited. SjoW over here with one Marine, again keeping tabs on the expansions here. So far, I would have to say he's doing a great job scouting. You see he has identified all the expansions. Hasn't seen this one yet there, but that's okay. Creep for CheckPrime expanding just right up to SjoW's high yield expansion. Alright, now here we go with the meter harassment. Could take out a siege tank or two, maybe. You see the Marines stepping up, responding very quickly. There are a couple medevacs, so we can expect to see SjoW Used stim pack a little bit more liberally than he probably would a few minutes ago, as the mutants are just kind of hanging out, barely out of visual range. There we go. Looks like he's going to be popping in there. I do like the placement of that sensor tower. That is very, very nice. Look at that. He is able to spot the kind of amassing position there. You notice that any attacks are coming down. Meter harassment continuing for CheckPrime, taking out the SCV, building the missile turret. We see SjoW trying to expand his defensive position here in the middle of the map, and he might decide to push over and get this expansion in a little bit. I don't know for sure, though. He is going to have to do something right now, because you see CheckPrime was up here just expanding and expanding. You see he's taking the high yield. He's already got this third base right here. It's already saturated, looking good in that regard. And as far as the actual income goes, we can see Zerg has a clear mineral advantage there. Of course, the mules are helping spike that up with just a little bit. But 72 to 54, the gas is a big separator between these two players right now. And here comes Check taking another expansion. He has just secured just a massive amount of income, taking this one as well. SjoW just is not being aggressive enough, you know, with the drops or anything like that to really put a hurting on Baboom Prime. CheckPrime. I just had to say Baboom in there sometime with any sort of official tone. Now here we go. CheckPrime deciding to run up here with a couple Marines, taking out some of the creep timbers, trying to push back the creep a little bit, reduce Check's maneuverability. Overall, this is turning out to be a pretty interesting game, but not a ton of actions here in the start, but that's okay, because I got a feeling from the production tab that we're going to see some pretty epic fights, namely because of the greater Spire that we have coming in just a minute. Also, the Pathogen Glands upgrade for the Infestors is going to be spawning with that additional 25 energy. Of course, we have 2 Infestors in the field right now. But you see, SjoW is doing a good job kind of staggering his siege tanks. Muta's popping up here, trying to take a free tank kill. Will they be able to get it? Do not think so. But they are going to have 1 fungal growth landing on the Marines. Look at that. CheckPrime was just ready for that. In a matter of milliseconds, popping that fungal growth, catching half of that Marine force there. And 1 Muta, a little bit of a mismanagement of the units right there. As SjoW is looking to move up here, you see he's got a nice tank line, moving up with the Marines and medevacs into the mineral line for CheckPrime. How will he respond to this? Well, looking right now, we can see he does have 1 spine crawler able to reach super far up. And this expansion also down here, the high yield is gone, folks. You see that Zerg actually is moving his units around, going to try to come in at a different area entirely and force SjoW to move his forces away, which you see he has done right now. Trying to amass a little bit more defensive position down here. He's got, the thing is right now, he's got this long line of tanks, and that he doesn't really start to have overlapping lines of fire until you get to about right here. So the Zerg could actually be relatively safe running directly up into this position. And we see a little bit of harassment coming from SjoW trying to take out this expansion. Not going to be very successful, though. At this point, we can look at the income tab, and we can see CheckPrime's income is definitely reduced. We could see he is actually trying to transfer some drones over. Still 72 to 55. His gas is now below the Terran player, so definitely spiking up in that area. Losing the high yield expansion is going to be hurting. But I'll tell you what, speaking of hurting, let's actually look at the Broodlords just taking a toll on the Marines. We see, oh man, I wish he had a fungal growth right now. Oh my god, he nailed a fungal growth right as soon as, I swear I have not watched this replay except for like the first couple minutes. I was just thinking to myself, that'd be beautiful for it, but he landed it. Oh, I am so happy right now. That just made my day. Thank you, CheckPrime. Marines are actually pushing up here. He could take out this expansion. You see that he's making a Broodlord right here. Oh, and here comes Zerg response with a bunch of Zerglings, another Infestor, trying to come up and get a good fungal growth. Not going to happen, though. SjoW has most of his siege tanks. I think it's a pretty interesting idea to get this Thor out right now. Obviously, Thor, very capable unit against Mutaballs, anything of that sort. But what we're seeing right now, a response is Broodlords, Zerglings, Banelings, Infestors, pretty much a nice mixture of everything there. And he's even getting a couple Corruptors out. Again, probably just to turn them into Broodlords, but we see it's just being a slaughterhouse right now. SjoW is forcing the engagement to press slowly on towards the natural, as we see he's actually just keeping a couple dropships here, hanging out, making sure that he is able to keep vision in this expansion. But here comes the CheckPrime response. Very nicely played there. You see SjoW not really overextending himself. He's moving up very slowly with the siege tanks, but oh, this Queen is trying to do what he can. Will he be able to... Oh, will she be able to live, though? Like how I'm focusing on this one particular unit. This queen is the most important unit in the entire game. Not really. She's kind of worthless, but that's okay. Because she's probably going to die in a second. Whoa! By the threads of fate, she will live to see another day. As that poor Thor is picked up by the medevac and killed like half a second later. Down here, we have a couple siege tanks getting surrounded. Looks like the tides are turning for SjoW, as he is getting pushed back to his half of the map, and not even half. You see, he hasn't taken this expansion yet, and so as a result, we're seeing the Zerg income is just through the roof in comparison to what SjoW has right now. He's lost a lot of those SCVs there, working on the high-yield expansion. As a result of the pushback from CheckPrime, you see he's actually able to defend his expansion right here and maintain that 2k minerals per minute. Also, with the Broodlords on the field, we're seeing SjoW he's focused so much on the Marines and that kind of anti-air, the Thors to an extent, that, you know, he doesn't have a lot in the way of Viking production. He has a few of them right now. You see, he's able to produce 2 of them. But the question is, how heavy is CheckPrime really going to force this Broodlord play? Is he going to continue and try to take advantage of the fact that so much of SjoW's economy has already been invested into the ability to produce the Marines? Is he going to switch it up now that maybe hoping SjoW is going to invest a ton more into Viking production, maybe switching it up and do something else that would counter that? I don't know. Right now, we're seeing CheckPrime, like I said, that was in a good spot. Of course, SjoW is continuing with the economic harassment, having taken out this expansion, is going to continue his push northward, while the Zerg player CheckPrime continues knocking out this expansion. We're seeing the planetary fortress is being repaired, SjoW doing everything he can, holding on for dear life while pressing up here in the natural. But you see, okay, we got 4 siege tanks, not a lot in the way of defensives, though. And defenses, I mean the Marines. There's only a few of them, so if a wave of Zerglings decides to come up here, and yes, I definitely just snorted trying to breathe, that was very awkward, but hey, that's okay, man, because we're here to watch StarCraft 2. Anyways, yeah, these Marines, if a giant wave of Zerglings comes up here, or any sort of attack, it's going to be pretty hard to defend. You see actually a couple Zerglings running over here, forcing the siege tanks to fire on the Marines, further weakening them. So here comes Roach, is dying super quick. Oh man, look at that nice response by CheckPrime, taking it out, just sending a couple units at a time, forcing the, like I said earlier, the siege tanks to do almost as much damage as he was doing himself with those units. SjoW over here, he's got another push, again trying to take out CheckPrime's economy. We can actually just keep an eye on that. Terran, you know, it's okay right now. He's got those SCVs working on this expansion, but he's going to have to hold this one. You see, he's actually got a bunch of board SCVs there. And we're seeing that SjoW is not able to build anything at this point in time. That he's so gas heavy right now. He's got to do something with that gas. Minerals, not so much. He's kind of running a little bit low on that. He's at 500, 400 there. So we'll just watch and see what he's going to be doing with that very, very gas heavy build. Zerglings continuing to be thrown at SjoW, trying to keep the Terran player at bay while his Broodlords, CheckPrime's Broodlords, are just doing their thing, man. Hanging out here above the ledge, very nice placement. Kind of keeping away from the Marines, forcing the siege tanks to fall back to the high-yield expansion. And now we're seeing SjoW in a really big pickle here. He's got to hold on to this expansion. He's got to get it going. And the problem is, CheckPrime over here with the high-yield expansion, it's just getting started, whereas we can see that SjoW has already spent a lot of this money at the high-yield. And what does he have to show for it? He has himself having fallen back to the high yield, and that's about it. Came down here, took out this expansion, so that was a very nice thing. Also took out the natural, again good. But now CheckPrime is going to be able to make a what I think could be a pretty solid comeback here, and maybe keep SjoW on the defensive. The question is whether or not CheckPrime is going to be able to lock down any further expansions. If SjoW is able to take this down, of course he could just send some Marines, come down, kill that very quickly. But if SjoW is able to take this expansion right here, secure it, maybe come in here, do a drop, take out some of these drones, harass this expansion right here, then I definitely think that SjoW could walk away with this game number 1 with the victory. But CheckPrime, like I said, he's got a whole bunch of Broodlords for floating around the map right now. Not floating, Frodoing. But you know, he could secure a victory. I don't know. At this point, it's still kind of up in the air. SjoW definitely has the production capability, But then again, CheckPrime, you see he's actually got a pretty nice balanced gas and minerals there. And SjoW, of course, still very, very gas heavy at this point. Trying to take out the Roxu, making it a little bit easier to reinforce there. But again, the Broodlords. Oh, the Broodlords taking out so many Marines. And the bunker. Look at that nice, very nice fungal growth on the Vikings, taking a lot of them down to about a third of health. Thinking some corruption on that, maybe a couple corruptors finish them off. That'll be able to force the Vikings way far away and give CheckPrime further dominance. Look at this, you've even got the Queens over here trying to transfuse, the Broodlords transfuse themselves, and it just extend this attack as much as possible. Speaking of extending, he's going to have to drop a creep tumor over here if he wants to continue with the Queen mobility that he's going for. Nice positioning on the siege tank there by SjoW. Look at that, 66 kills, 67 kills on that siege tank. It looks like it might actually be going down soon. Yep, sure enough, there we go. That is a crap ton of kills on one unit, folks. I have to say, that is a lot. So at this point now, we're seeing CheckPrime reestablish economic dominance up here in this half of the map. The high yield secure. This expansion over here is secure, as we're seeing more Broodlord harassment continue on. The Viking count here is dwindling. We could definitely see production for both players at not very high right now. But the important thing is, CheckPrime's growing, SjoW definitely not. We're seeing that CheckPrime is doing a great job keeping SjoW just here, next to no income. Actually, yeah, like, no income. You see minerals, nothing for SjoW. So he's going to actually be spending a little bit of money here trying to repair this planetary fortress, what little money he has. And here comes Zerglings now trying to come over here and maybe take out a few additional SCVs and try to shut down the production for SjoW. Take out a few tech labs, maybe a few key structures. We're seeing that happen right now. And SjoW is forced to keep the majority of his forces up here to defend the high yield. But again, his income is just next to nothing right now. Saw a little bit of an attempted drop there from SjoW, a last-ditch effort to shut down the economy for CheckPrime. But we're seeing, again, as far as the army size, 40 to 89 right now. CheckPrime still working on the high-yield expansion. That's really helping them stay ahead of the game here. Vikings coming over here for SjoW. And this is just... oh, man, you guys better not lift off right now, because it's going to be a corruptor party. Yeah, I think right now at this point SjoW is going to be losing this first game. I mean, he's got Zerglings in the main. He's got Zerglings here in the high yield expansion. He's trying to do a lot of harassment here at this expansion, but this is where the bread and butter is for CheckPrime's economy, and this is not really being touched at this point. We see SjoW is continuing to send out the Vikings to maybe scout them out, but at what at what cost here? I do like how CheckPrime's keeping those corruptors around with the Vikings, keeping those things grounded and making sure they do not pose any more of a threat than they already are. So the question is here, where does SjoW want this to lead? I mean, it's clear that CheckPrime has got he's got a whole bunch of corruptors running around, and all the Vikings are split up right now. Should SjoW decide to lift off and maybe hide from the Zerglings, the corruptors are going to swoop in, take out the structures. But, you know, the Zerglings are working on taking out the depots. You see 45 to 65 right now. That's not a position SjoW wants to be in. I mean, yeah, he still has some of the production facilities, and that's going to be key if he's going to be able to make a comeback here. But you look at the income. He's got 2 patches in the high yield left. Zerglings here at this expansion, taking it out, forcing it to lift off once again. And I really do think that... oh, wow. Okay, well, that's what it looks like when a command center and a hatchery get ready to make a baby, and you get a very depressed drone. So I guess they're going to have to go in for marriage counseling there. Maybe a little bit more than that because, you know, the drone's kind of dead, but that's okay because this Marine's going to be dead too. He was the only witness. So we'll just say that never happened. So here comes what could be SjoW's final push. Or not push, but at least defensive play right here. You see he's moving up all of his SCVs, what few of them there are, all of the Marines, the Vikings, and so forth, hoping to mount a defense. But look at this right here. We've got, again, a Broodlord, whole bunch of Roaches, a couple of Zerglings as well, even more coming down the line right now. As we see CheckPrime, his economy looking good right now. Poor Marine, going down super quick there, but... yeah, at this point, I think we're just waiting for the killing blow. And I guess now would be a good time to mention the fact, well, first of all, a ton of Zergling is going to be annihilating the income for SjoW. But I have some exciting news here that I want to wrap up this game with. Eddie the Zergling. That's right, you may have seen it in the previous video, the little picture flash at the end. I do have the third Eddie the Zergling story almost ready to go. And I don't want to give away any whole bunch of information about it, but let's just say he's going to accidentally the whole meta game. So that's going to probably round it up here. I don't know. This is going on. SjoW is trying to just hold on for dear life at this point. I mean, you look, this expansion's been shut down. It's got the command center floating away. Yeah, pretty slow ending here. But you know what? Maybe SjoW can make a comeback. We'll just try to keep it super exciting by pointing out how awesome that CheckPrime has been this game so far. You know, he really held on the first half against that super powerful aggression coming from SjoW with the siege tanks, marines, the constant press up here into the third and the high yield. But you know what? He was able to mount a very strong comeback with that superior income, and it looks like CheckPrime going to be moving in for what could be the killing blow, attacking. Even though it's next to the planetary fortress, he has enough to push through, despite the attacks from that, and continue to take out this expansion right here. So I think that's going to be, that's going to be GG right there. I was just thinking, how much longer could this possibly go on? But, you know, SjoW held on for dear life, did a great job holding on to his expansions there, but ultimately just could not withstand the pressure and the superior economy from CheckPrime. So that's going to wrap up game number 1 here in the Star Wars number 6 tournament. Make sure you stay tuned. Game number 2, game number 3. I'm going to tell you right now, the games, all 3 of these games in this series, I've looked at the replay just by clicking on it, and one of them is like 45 minutes long, and the other one's like 35 minutes long, or maybe one of them's 45 minutes long and there is no third. Could be interesting. Never know. Maybe we're gonna have a 2-0 shutout from CheckPrime. SjoW can maybe do a comeback, put it into game number 3. I don't know. You'll just have to wait and find out. Eddie is awesome.